First of all, welcome to the new place. If you guys missed last video, like most of you did, because nobody watched it. I was approached to talk about this game, MindsEye, for... And honestly, this was one of the only titles I was excited for during that State of Play live stream that I did. So I was like, sick. I can say whatever I want about the game, right? They said, totally, just nothing overly negative, which was a little weird. So I pushed even further and said, okay, if your game is total crap, I have the right to back out. And they agreed. So they sent me their game and I got to play it for a few days now. And unfortunately, this game is a disaster. So what is MindsEye? I thought it was gonna be kind of a next-gen open world game made by one of the creators of Grand Theft Auto. It looked like it was slightly in the near future, maybe something between watchdogs and cyberpunk, which do we really need another one of those? But beside the point. But overall, it was intense. It had a lot of action-packed scenes and the game just looked great. And it's probably like my fault, but I don't think I'm alone here when I think, again, I thought this was going to be an open world game. And what we got here with MindsEye is a shell of a game that takes place inside of an open world. Kind of weird. We'll get into that later. Now, not every single fiber of MindsEye is terrible, just most of it is. I won't lie, I was actually intrigued by the story for the first hour and a half. The beginning cinematic takes place 3 years prior to the actual story, where you're in a military squadron somewhere out in the desert. The game takes place a little bit in the future. You're a drone operator and you control it with this little chip in your neck. I think that's what the MindsEye does. I'm like 70% sure that, and I've played the game for over 10 hours. I don't know why you're in the desert exploring Egyptian ruins, it looks like, but I guess it doesn't matter. You break into one of these caves and you see some inscriptions on the wall. Your drone goes haywire and you pass out. You seem to be suffering from some amnesia around that event. The game jumps 3 years forward. You're trying to get memories back from this event that happened, and you're moving into not Las Vegas with an old military buddy, and he's like, yo, I got you a hookup with a job over at Not Tesla, which is called Silva in the game. So you go there to do security and you meet your boss and she's like, what's your name? And you're like, Jacob. And she's like, great, here's a gun, go out into the street.
I trust you know how to handle one.
Sure.
Which I think is hilarious. Just no training, no preparation, just go out in the streets and hopefully you don't kill anybody today. And on your first day, you kill 17 people in cold blood. And Jacob's your classic good guy. Randomly, your friend calls you and tells you about a time that you saved him from 5 bullies. I'm like, 5 guys? Who is Jacob? Like Jackie Chan? But that story just comes out of nowhere, it feels like, just to be like, hey, you're a good guy.
Sorry, I was such a jerk. You probably don't remember this either, but in 9th grade, you stopped me from getting beat up. Oh, did we know each other in high school?
A lot of your interactions with your roommate don't make sense. Like you passing out and then him coming in and being like, you're good to go to work. I just saw you black out. And then when you come back in after killing a bunch of people on your first day of work, he comes into your room and is like, hey man, I know you're a good guy. Who cares if there's voices in your head?
Jake, what the hell happened to you, man? I've been seeing things. Look, I do know you. The real you. Now, whatever some voice inside your head is saying,
that's not setting off any alarm bells to you. So the game is made in Unreal Engine, kind of clearly. And from the outside looking in, I can see why you think this game looks good. It does. But it's kind of easy nowadays to make things in Unreal look good. I'm barely a game designer and I've made things in Unreal that look good. It doesn't make it a good game. And it becomes an unplayable game when you don't optimize any of it. I jumped into this game with my 4070 Ti and 13700K processor on a 2K resolution and immediately got around 50 frames. So I went to the settings, and this is crazy. This is one of the first games I've seen with DLSS and frame generation turned on by default. Talk about not believing in the performance of your game. As soon as I turned off frame generation, I was getting 20 frames a second. And it's one of those games where you try to turn off all the settings, and even when you do turn everything to the lowest setting, it changes the performance by 6 frames. And it has all those signature visual flaws that Unreal games tend to have, like the really grainy lighting, all this crazy artifacting that happens around objects. There's that ghosting when you move around, there's pop-in all over the place. I'm a fan of DLSS, but I don't think your game should not be able to run without it. And in this game, if you take it down to anything beneath quality, it becomes a blurry mess. And there's a lot of cutscenes in this game, unskippable by the way. Why do I know they're unskippable? Because I changed my settings right in the beginning and I was like, okay, to apply some of these changes, I might have to restart. So I restarted the game and had to watch the full 10-minute cinematic intro again. And with Unreal, sure, the cinematics look decent. The facial animations are really good. You can tell they're really utilizing the metahumans in Unreal. But every scene cut, I could feel the image almost settling into its lighting and rendering every shot. It's so interesting seeing people in the game react to your mind's eye and your neck, because they look at you like you're the Grim Reaper, which I was like, what do I have in me? Oh, it's just a thing that scans enemies and like can stun people with a drone if you have it. Also, instead of a phone, you get like a lens in your eye in the beginning, and it never comes into your gameplay again. You do have a map at the top left corner, a mini map. You don't have an actual map in the game, which is just bizarre. There are so many missing pieces to this game. It's unbelievable. I really was convinced the first chunk of this game, eventually it's going to let me loose and I'm going to be able to explore the open world, go customize my guy, go into the city, go shop around, get a new car, change my clothes, because man, do I hate this outfit. How lame of a hero character design is a t-shirt and a vest? Like, that's what you came up with, cargo pants? Eventually you get like a better vest, but that's it. The game never truly becomes an open world. You just go mission to mission to mission to mission, driving your same stupid, boring looking Tesla sedan the majority of the game. And you might be like, well, can't you go steal a car? No, I think there's been a couple moments where I've been able to get into other cars, but the majority of the time, even when I shoot somebody in the car, I can't steal their car. Let me drive another car. What is this, Star Wars Outlaws? Hello? Did the guy that helped make GTA even look at this fucking game? Also, there's no police in the game. What? Yes, there's robots that always are pointing their rifles at civilians walking around, but they never come into play. I can literally stand on the highway and just gun people down and no one comes after me. And I will say, that is one of the only good things about this game, is the driving. The driving is actually pretty dang great. And it's such a bummer that I can't try a bunch of different vehicles. I remember seeing like this muscle car in the trailer. I've tried to get into that car and I can't. I killed so many people trying to get that car. You would at least think the saving grace would be the combat, but I cannot describe a more shallow combat system than the ones in MindsEye. It is a joke. The combat is easily worse than Star Wars Outlaws, than Watch Dogs 1. I was expecting at least something around Max Payne 3. And you might say Max Payne 3 is a high bar, but dude, the game came out 13 years ago and there's a guy from Rockstar working on the game. Nope, no bullet time, no cybernetic powers, no tech abilities, just a security guy with a gun. None of the guns even look special. The only gun that does is your pistol, which looks like a laser tag gun. All the gun sounds sound pretty unsatisfying outside of like the shotgun, the sniper. And even those, I'm really wondering if they just downloaded it from like Audio Jungle. There's absolutely no ceremony around getting new guns. The AI is incredibly dumb. The combat is extraordinarily easy, even if you put it on hard setting, which I did, and it's still just like everybody just gets shot once in the head and they're dead, which, you know, would make sense, but it's just, there's something so light to it. Maybe it's the ragdolls. It just feels so unsatisfying. The ragdolls feel like they're filled with air, which a human body is, but we also have blood and guts and stuff, so we drop heavy whenever we get shot in the face. There's no melee in the game. There's barely a grenade. It comes from your drone way far into the game, but there's no other ordnance. There's no jump. There's barely vaulting, which is super inconsistent. The gunplay is stiff and rigid. You can't switch shoulders in a third-person shooter, which many times I needed to. Also, something that I noticed while watching the trailers while writing this video is when you see Jacob get into a gunfight, he is constantly getting hit by bullets and nothing happens. It just shows you how easy this game is gonna be. Also, who is playing at this moment? Like, you have absolutely no stress, just running straight into open gunfire. What are you thinking? And I almost forgot the cover system, which is also like vaulting, super inconsistent. Some things you just randomly can't cover behind. And when it comes to failing missions, you can fail missions in the most annoying, arbitrary ways possible. Perfect example is one of the first missions I went on. The waypoint that you're going to on your minimap, which you can't see where the actual destination is, doesn't have a waypoint path going on the road. And so I guess I was supposed to assume that I'm supposed to go off-roading, but I didn't. I just kept on the road and all of a sudden failed the mission and had to restart. Like, what is this? There's these awful shoehorned in mini games. At one point I thought these like riffs were gonna be interesting because the first one takes place when you were a soldier, but then the rest of them don't. Those memory riffs don't matter at all. One of them is you setting up robot turrets, and I think like any pattern you set them up, you just win them. There's rankings to them, but there's no reward for it. You can get like gold, bronze, silver. I found myself trying to get a better score and I was like, why? Why am I doing this? I don't have any money in this game. I don't have any XP. There's no tech tree. There's nothing. There's a chest compressions game, which I failed because it was trying to explain how to do the breathe in, breathe up, but like I had to read this while it was happening. I failed it like 3 times. Also, do we even breathe in anymore? I thought that was like a Sandlot move in like the 60s. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure you just do chest compressions nowadays. And then I was in an office and there was like this square game that's you're trying to make your own path across. I can't even explain it. There's no UI on it. I don't get how this made the release. Like, what are we doing? What is this? This is one of those games that suffers from, I'm gonna forget the word, narrative dissonance or whatever. A common example is Nathan Drake in Uncharted, who's like this morally good guy, but he's like shooting people down, killing hundreds of men all the time and being like, excuse me, big guy. Like, you just shot a human being in the head, man.
Jacob! Oh my fuck, what? I can't connect to the speaker. Then make your own music.
And it's hilarious that the game doesn't like end the mission if you just run over a bunch of civilians, because Jacob's supposed to be this morally good guy, but the game doesn't give a shit. I constantly am running people over in this game because the game doesn't care. I think it's hilarious. As the game was losing my interest with the story, there was also a bunch of like random topical nods I feel like they threw into the game, almost satire. Like you hang out with not Elon Musk, but it's definitely him. He's like dressed exactly like him. He's a super rich guy that's trying to have a personality too. There also seems to be a woman who almost is like a Trump figure. She's like denying climate change and makes this like water joke, which I think it fell completely flat if it was supposed to be something. I thought it was going to do something more inspired with real life issues around robots taking everybody's jobs, the Patriot Act, AI meeting bioengineering. Like at one point I convinced myself, I was like, oh, this is going to be a Westworld game where like all my friends are robots and stuff. Like I haven't finished the game yet, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's much less interesting. I think there's going to be some reveal about some ancient Egyptian tech god. I don't know. I don't really care. One thing that almost got my hopes up was hitting the start button and seeing build. I was like, what is this? Is this where the customization is? Can I build a car? Can I build a gun? Can I build, parts of my vest or my outfit or my drone or something like that? Nope. This is one of the weirdest things I've seen added into a game. And of all games to do it, I am blown away. It's MindsEye. They basically stripped a bunch of parts away from Unreal Engine and just squeezed it into their game. It looks so cheap. I feel bad for whatever intern or lower level employee that had to make this thing and was probably thinking, who the fuck is going to use this the whole time while making it? And it's marketed as, now MindsEye has infinite potential since we're allowing you to create your own combat scenarios and races.
For the first time ever, anyone can build their own MindsEye quality missions and games. This is the home of infinite entertainment. You can create your own shootouts, chases, races, puzzles, and places. Literally anything.
But I think anybody with a brain is going to call that BS out and be like, oh, you mean build the rest of your game? What are you thinking? I even looked at some of these tools and like, look, I'm not the most expert game designer here, but you can make like physical mathematical nodes, like adding vectors into the game. I don't think this is visual scripting. I have no idea what they're trying to get at here. And then even when I set something up and played the game, literally I instantly broke it. On first try, I spawned underneath the level. The game is an absolute disaster. It's made by Builder Rocket Boy. It's their first title. I don't know who was pressuring them to rush this game out. If it is rushed, if they thought this was complete, they're completely brain dead. And there's even things in their game, their single player game, that's talking about like a game, not a game pass, but like a yearly release thing of like what's to come next. What? Make a game first, dude. When I finished playing, I told a friend, and I thought I was being super original here. I was like, let's just say what's shiny isn't always gold. And he's like, do you mean what glitters isn't gold? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a saying. Where's that from? And he's like, the Bible? Hopefully it makes sense why I say this is a shell of a game. And I have a feeling some people might be like, Jack, not everybody has 20 hours to play a game. Some people like a linear game like this. And these are just my opinions. You don't have to agree with me, but I find it really hard to carry water for a game that feels so incomplete. So many features missing, so many obvious ones. No map? Like what? There's so much driving in this game. I've heard rumors that they're trying to fix their game in under a month, but could you imagine what the morale is like at that studio? Like knowing that their first launch is a disaster. What are you even gonna slap together? You have 75% of your game isn't finished. Unless you spend another year at least on this game, filling it with content, you're shit out of luck. I am sorry. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I really think that's the case. What I really don't understand is like, who what is the pitch of this game? Like, how does it get funding? Yeah, I want to make this game that has an open world, but you can't go explore it and do anything outside of the main story missions. Okay, so the story must be really good, right? Yeah, it's about this security guard at a Tesla factory like around 20 years into the future. Is there anything special about him? Yeah, he's got a microchip in his neck. Okay, does it give him like special abilities? By special abilities, do you mean he gets to pilot a small drone that has a camera and a stun feature? Is there more than that? Like what? Like a skill tree? Anything? Wow. No, why? Because this is one of the most boring ideas I've ever heard in my life. This game reeks of immense cuts of what this game was originally supposed to be, which I would love to hear that original pitch. Almost nothing in this game evolves. There's no reward, there's no new car, no new upgrades to guns, no new clothes, no money to collect, no properties to buy, no incentive to play besides getting through the story, which I'm sorry, just doesn't cut it. It might as well be the anti-GTA. I hope you liked that video, guys. I really tried some different things here. I shaved off a lot of things in my process that I don't think are completely necessary. I still want to do big production videos for special titles, but for games like this, I just feel like I'm missing out on too much to talk about. Like, I want to talk about Doom, I want to talk about MindsEye, I want to talk about Expedition 33, but these things are just flying by. You know, I just released my video on Oblivion Remastered, and I feel like I was just so late. I had a lot of fun doing this, honestly, right now, so, you know, maybe it will be the new way, but we'll see. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Also, this vest is real and like it is so freaking ugly. It also came with this gun.